And we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark constantly to elevate ourselves, but also trigger her fans so that they'll keep coming to games and rooting for her, and it's going to elevate the entire league. I'm honestly starting to think there's a strategy to this madness. There's a method to this madness.
Monica McNutt just suggested that Caitlin Clark's rise in popularity is due more to her being a white girl from Middle America than her game-changing talent. Forget the record-breaking stats, the deep logo threes, the packed arenas, or the wave of new fans she's bringing into women's basketball. Apparently, none of that matters as much as where she's from or how she looks. Seriously?
Here's Monica McNutt, ESPN broadcaster, covers the WNBA. Not a bad broadcaster, but she just can't help herself. When given a chance to talk about Caitlin Clark, they're always going to racialize it and try to demonize Caitlin Clark's fan base.
In this video, we're breaking down a take so outrageous, it's got basketball fans across the country fired up. Monica McNutt's comment sparked serious backlash, and Jason Whitlock didn't hold back, delivering a scathing response that left her backpedaling. The disrespect toward Caitlin Clark has officially gone too far, and it's time we call it out for what it really is. Buckle up. Let's get into it.
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
Did Monica McNutt really just try to reduce the most electrifying player in women's basketball to nothing more than her looks and hometown? In a recent BBC interview with Caddy K, McNutt claimed Caitlin Clark's popularity was due to her being a white girl from the middle of America, not her historic talent. The comment sparked instant backlash as fans flooded social media to call out the blatant dismissal of Clark's game-breaking skill and unprecedented impact on women's basketball.
So she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Let's be clear. Caitlin Clark isn't rewriting the history books because of her demographic profile. She's doing it by dominating on the court in ways we've never seen. She shattered the NCAA scoring record, pulls up from the logo like it's a layup, threads no-look passes that would make Larry Bird nod in approval, and has the kind of court vision that reshapes offenses. Even Magic Johnson has sung her praises. Yet somehow, Monica McNutt chose to sidestep all of that. In a BBC interview with Caddy K, she reduced Clark's popularity to her being a white girl from the middle of America, ignoring the generational talent we're witnessing. To be fair, McNutt tried to frame it in a broader context, saying fans attach themselves to players for many reasons, just like with Angel Reese. But here's the problem. When it comes to Clark, the focus keeps shifting away from her actual game. And that's where the disrespect begins.
So perhaps Caitlin Clark is relatable and popular and people want to see her play because she's exciting as heck to watch and because she's not filled with anger. People are attracted to joy. Why was Magic Johnson so popular? Black, white, whatever. The man played with joy. Biggest smile on his face. Happy-go-lucky Magic Johnson. Everybody loved him.
Fans weren't having it. Fire her, wrote one user on X. Another didn't hold back. This woman does nothing but give bad takes. I have no idea why she's even on ESPN. The backlash wasn't confined to one group either. Basketball fans from all walks of life came together, united in defending Caitlin Clark's legitimacy as a true sports phenomenon. This wasn't just about one comment. It was about standing up for greatness when it's right in front of us.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport. That's not to take anything away from anybody else, but I often argue, when I've argued with folks about this, you think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Magic Johnson? You think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Larry Bird? You think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Michael Jordan? Because guess what? There were great players that were in the sport before they ever arrived, who did everything they could to make the NBA what it was. But it was when those brothers arrived that it took on an extra dimension and elevated to another level.
Especially revealing about McNutt's take is what she chose to leave out. If being a white girl from Middle America were truly the secret ingredient to WNBA stardom, then why haven't players like Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Sue Bird, or Cameron Brink reached Caitlin Clark's level of popularity? If appearance alone were the driving force behind her massive appeal, these talented athletes who check similar boxes would have drawn the same spotlight. But they haven't, because the difference isn't how Clark looks, it's how she plays.
Dunn, Sabrina, Brianna, Kelsey, Diana Taurasi. You had and have these white players in the league that never galvanize the people like this. All right. Now, granted, you can have some people come back and say, well, the media and the coverage wasn't as good as it is now. NILs and things like that weren't popping off. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it, man. If they were that captivating, they would have got the eyes.
The irony couldn't be more striking. In an attempt to speak on representation in sports, Monica McNutt ended up diminishing one of the most impactful female athletes we've ever seen. Caitlin Clark is doing more to elevate women's basketball than perhaps anyone in history, yet McNutt reduced her achievements, her relentless work ethic, and her generational talent to nothing more than her identity, all while positioning herself as a champion of women's sports. That's not just contradictory, it's deeply disappointing.
And then when you add in that she shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson and Pistol Pete Maravich, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists, that she's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting style of play.
The backlash against McNutt has been so overwhelming, fans are now urging ESPN to reconsider her role. When a sports analyst misses the mark this badly, overlooking the real basketball-driven reasons behind a player's popularity, it naturally raises questions about their credibility and objectivity. This controversy has laid bare the high stakes of modern sports commentary, where every word is scrutinized and accountability matters more than ever. What's most powerful, though, is the unity it sparked. Fans from every background have come together to support Caitlin Clark, not because of who she is, but because of how she plays. Her appeal has clearly transcended race, region, and rivalry, proving that the love of the game still has the power to unite, not divide.
They can't have that discussion. And so they keep it real simple. And they give simplistic answers because they're not willing to have the true discussion about why Caitlin Clark is so popular. She reflects values that are relatable to kids who come from two-parent homes. That's regardless of color. Kids that come from two-parent homes can relate to Caitlin Clark because they have more in common with her values and the way she presents herself.
This isn't just about one off-base interview. Monica McNutt's dismissive attitude toward Caitlin Clark has been simmering for quite some time. The receipts go back to 2024 when McNutt boldly claimed Clark deserved just 60% of the credit for the Indiana Fever's playoff push. 60% for the player who transformed an entire franchise. That wasn't just an isolated hot take. It marked the beginning of a pattern, one that continues to downplay the influence of one of the most transformative talents the game has seen. Next,
Been spectacular and exceeded expectations. The pick and roll between Caitlin and Aaliyah has been fantastic. Kelsey Mitchell is having a career year, and all of those role players get a slice. I don't know quite how.
Well, that's a lot of pizza pie. I get you. But there's got to be one big slice, and that's Clark. What percentage are we talking about for Caitlin Clark? 80%, 90%, 95%?
Listening to her all season long, I've called a couple of their games. She's team first. Statistically, you're probably looking at least 60%.
You know what really exposes McNutt's bias? Her stance on the Rookie of the Year race. When When it came down to choosing between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, McNutt didn't even attempt to hide her favoritism. She openly stated that her decision would hinge on team standings, conveniently, when Reese's Chicago Sky were in playoff contention. But here's the thing. This is the same award that has always been about individual performance, not team success.
You would have the Sky in the playoffs right now, which means that Angel Reese, in theory, has impacted winning in a greater way. But I think the double-double streak that she's on, the 8 consecutive double-doubles, for Caitlin, she's leading rookies in points, minutes, and assists. There was terrific stats put out over the weekend by our colleague Michael Vopel about the percentage, about her being the player that has seen the most blitzes in the league. And so she's navigating a different level of defensive intensity, and rightfully so, because she's playing a point guard role for this Fever squad. So I think today, looking at the standings, you probably tend to lean Angel.